All right, folks. Today we are talking about factoring quadratics, as we see right over here. This is the first video in a series of 4 where we're going to talk about how to factor quadratic expressions. Don't mind me as I'm getting my line tool set up here. We're going to talk about a handful of different ways we can approach these and different methods, and separating them into 4 videos so they don't get too tediously long here. So. Well, let's start with some relatively basic ones. We're going to factor this expression, x squared minus 12x minus 28, into binomials. Now, if you recall, binomial is something that looks kind of like this. For example, you could say that x plus 3 is a binomial. And let's just do a separate problem here real quick so we can kind of get the ball rolling on this and get an idea of what we're looking for. So we have x plus 3 times x plus 4. And we do this by doing the FOIL method. X times x is x squared. That's our first term. Outside terms, x times 4 is 4x for x. Inside, 3 times x is 3x. And our last term is 3 times 4, which is 12. We're not done. We combine these terms here to give us 7x. So that's x squared plus 7x plus 12. So what we did is we took these two binomials, we used the FOIL process, combined like terms, and we got this. Well, what we're doing here with these expressions is we're factoring them. We're trying to do the opposite operation. So we're basically asking ourselves, what binomials, when they get multiplied together, give us this expression here? And that's what we're going to find out. Well, here's the way that I always start these, and this is supposed to be a 28. There we go. This is how I always start these. X squared. This is a relatively simple one. There's only one way we get x squared. It's x times x. So x goes here, and x goes here. Okay? I'm going to ignore this B part here for a minute. We're going to come back to that later. But let's look at C. Look at this term that's way back here. We have a negative 28. Well, think about this. How did we get this 12? Well, we multiplied 3 and 4 together to give us 12. So we need to think about what can we multiply together to give us this negative 28. Well, we have a lot of options. You could have negative 1 and 28. You could have the opposite. You could have 1 and negative 28. You could have negative 2 and 14. You could have 2 and negative 14. And the last option, if I recall, is going to be 4 and negative 7, or negative 4 and 7. Those are the only ways you can multiply two numbers together to get a negative 28. So these are our options for this. Well, we're specifically looking for the ones that are going to give us, when we combine them, negative 12. When we add them, what's going to give us negative 12? Well, the only ones that do that combine to give us negative 12, are 2 and negative 14. So we have a plus 2, and a minus 14. This is what we would say is our factored expression. Now you might ask yourself, well, how do you know that that this is my factored answer? How do I know that this is right? Well, you can FOIL this out, and you can see if it ends up working. I'm really murdering that. That's not looking very good. Anyway, you can FOIL this out and see if it works. Now, when I say FOIL, we don't actually have to do the whole FOIL process in this situation. Because remember, we picked x and x because it was going to give us x squared. So the first part is already taken care of. In fact, we don't even have to worry about this 2 times negative 14. Remember, we picked this from a list of factors of 28. These are designed to be factors of this negative 28. So we don't have to do the last part of that to do our check. All we have to do for our checks is we got to check our outer and inner products. And if they give us this negative 12, we did it right. Let's check. X times negative 14, negative 14x. And 2 times x is plus 2x. When those combine, we get negative 12x, which is what we're looking for, and it worked. There we go. So that's the basic idea behind that. And so our answer for this is going to be what we have right here. This, as I'm not drawing my box very well, that is our answer right there. X plus 2 times x minus 14 is our factored expression for that. Okay. Let's get this cleared off, and then we will do another example. We'll do a handful of examples actually. Now that was the very bare bones. That was the basics of how you do this. Now there are some advanced techniques that allow you to do this a little more quickly. Let's say we have x squared plus 5x plus 4. I need to get my thickness back on this. Oops. Okay. X squared plus 5x plus 4. We're going to factor this. And again, in order to get x squared, the only way that happens is x times x. Our last term of... so here's something that we didn't get to talk about a whole lot last time. I'm going to go to this 4 and x. This is what we're going to be focusing on here. But notice how it's a positive 4. Think about... remember, we get this by multiplying these numbers together. Well, how do we get a positive 4? Well, the only way we get a positive 4 is we either have to multiply two... So the only way we get a positive, I should say, is we multiply two positives or two negatives, because a negative times a negative is, of course, a positive. So what this symbol tells me here is if it's positive, then we know that these symbols are going to be the same. In the last example, if you want to rewind it, you can see how this had a minus sign and our symbols were different. We had a plus and a minus. Well, now that we have this plus here, we know that they're the same. And if they're the same, they're both positive or both negative, what are they going to be? They're both going to be positive. We looked at this symbol for that. So I can put down a plus here and a plus here. And now all I have to do is I've got to see, okay, what factors of 4 add together to give me our middle term of 5x? Well, our factors of 4 are 1 and 4, and 2 and 2. Again, because I know they're going to be the same symbol, I don't have to deal with the positive and negatives. So with that, which of these are going to add together to give me 5x? Well, 2 and 2 certainly won't, but 1 plus 4 is. That is in factored form now. Again, if you want to check your answer, you can FOIL it, especially doing the outer and inner portion of the FOIL. So now let's check this next one. We'll do a couple of other examples here. Let's do this next one that we have here. We have x squared minus 8x plus 12 plus 12. So with this, again, we get x squared by multiplying x and x. The plus sign here tells us our symbols are going to be the same because we get a positive value here. Specifically, they're going to be negative. So a minus here, minus here. Now we need our factors of 12 that will combine to give us 8. Well, our factors of 12 are 1 and 12. We also have 2 and 6 and 3 and 4. Those are all of our factors of 12. And when these combine, which one's going to combine to give us this middle term of negative 8? It's going to be a negative 2 and a negative 6. There you go. That is, again, in factored form. Very nice. Good. Let's do... I'm going to make one up here. I'm going to modify this just a little bit here so we can... give myself a little more space to work here. Let's do another one. I want to do another one that has minus. Let's say I have, let's do x squared plus 2x minus 35. And I'm going to factor the expression here. All right, so we're going to factor this. X squared plus 2x minus 35. Again, put x and x down. Now what we have here is this minus symbol. This minus symbol that we're going to tells us we're going to have a plus here and a minus here. Now what we're looking for is going to be factors of 35, negative 35. That'll give us a, when we add together, give us a plus 2. So there aren't a whole lot of factors of 35. We have 1 and negative 35. We have a negative 1 and positive 35. We have 5 and negative 7, or negative 5 and 7. Which of these, when we add them together, are going to combine and give us 2x? So that's going to be a plus 7 and a minus 5. And that, again, has been factored. Okay. So that is all we have right now regarding the basic factoring methods. With the rest of these, we're going to have some other options that'll help us do some of these more efficiently. So we'll see you next time.